Hi, this is midwife Nell Tharp coming to you from Midwife Workshops, where we specialize in workshops for midwives on suturing, knot tying, and perineal repair. We hope that you will subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get updates about these videos. And this is our video series on sutures and knot tying and suturing techniques. We will encourage you to submit questions to us at midwifeworkshops@gmail.com. If you have a specific video or technique you'd like to see demonstrated, feel free to let us know. If you have a technique that you love and you haven't seen information about it, we would love to hear about what you're doing out there in the community. So today's focus is going to be on the subcuticular closure. There are a number of techniques that can be used, but the one that we're going to show is a superficial mattress stitch that will do an effective skin closure of the perineum. I will say that the current literature supports non-closure of the skin of the perineum because it leads to greater comfort for the client in the immediate postpartum period, as well as a reduced rate of dyspareunia in the first 12 weeks. There are many right ways to do things. So some midwives will continue to close the skin. Others will use techniques that will closely approximate the skin without suturing through it. And sometimes people will close the skin using skin glue as opposed to sutures, or they may use seaweed and manuka honey to pull the tissues into approximation. So as I said, there's a lot of right ways to do it. Our focus for this particular video is going to be on the subcuticular closure. I'm going to go ahead and swap views here so that you are able to see what we're doing. And in this instance, I am going to have my needle loaded to the right. So typically as a right-handed suturer, my needle is loaded to my left, but in this instance, my needle is loaded to my right. And I am going to hold my needle holder so that my needle is in the same plane parallel to the tissue of the perineum, and the directionality from the posterior aspect, so close to the rectum, going up toward the hymen. If I have ended my repair on the right so far, I am then going to put my stitches in, first stitch in on the left. For purposes of illustration, I'm going to use my tissue forceps because it will let you see better. If your client has good anesthesia, you can do that. I would be holding the tissue, pulling it taut, so I have a straight line to run my suture up the dermis, grasp it with my tissue forceps, reload, and I'm going to do a stitch on each side before I pull the suture all the way through. I'm going to go directly across from where I came out, bring my suture straight up, reload. There we go. And now I'm going to pull using my left hand so that my hands aren't moving about a whole lot. Again, here's my stitch coming out, so I'm going to go in directly across from it. The model's getting a little bit worn here. And I'm going to go take a stitch straight up toward the vaginal opening, reload. Again, use my tissue forceps, come straight across, go in, and reload. Reload and pull that up, and I'll pull it taut as I pulls the tissue together. So I want you to pay attention right now to how I'm holding the needle holder. The stitch is placed by this rocking motion of my hand. I can't have my fingers in the rings, or it would be so awkward for my arm to actually use this position. So instead, I just hold it loosely. So I've got my 3 fingers holding it from below, my thumb from above, and then my pointer finger to stabilize. I'm using my tissue forceps in my left hand to lift and evert the tissue put a little bit of traction, place my stitch, grasp my needle, pull it through, reload it, grasp the other side, go in directly across, and go up, grasp, and reload. So my needle is being reloaded to my right the entire time. So this will give a nice, clean subcuticular closure without being ergonomically difficult for the clinician. This is assuming that you are seated between the client's legs. If you're leaning over a knee, then your technique will be a little bit different. I do encourage you, and I'm going to stop right there. I do encourage you to make sure that you are comfortable when you are suturing, that you're not straining your back by leaning whenever possible, and that you have good exposure. If when you're closing the skin, your needle goes through the epidermis, you want to take that stitch back out. Otherwise, the client is likely to get granuloma formation at that site because the suture being a foreign material. So you want all of your stitches in the dermis layer of the skin and never through the epidermis. The skin of the perineum is so thin that we have to be really vigilant to avoid putting stitches inadvertently through the epidermis. So that's it on my subcuticular closure. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I hope that you will come visit us at nelltharpcnm.com. Send us emails at midwifeworkshops@gmail.net or subscribe to our YouTube channel. More videos to come soon.